I buried my grandmother on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday, my siblings were already measuring the curtains. My name is Chloe, and I'm 32 years old. 2 years ago, I had a decent tech job in the city, a studio apartment with exposed brick walls and what I thought was a normal family. Then Grandma Deborah got sick and everything changed. Someone needs to take care of her, my sister Destiny announced during our family video call, her perfectly contoured face filling the screen. She can't live alone anymore. I'd love to help, but my job, Braxton started. And I'm still in school, Kylie chimed in, though we all knew she was mostly partying her way through her 5th year of college. They all looked at me, the responsible one, the one without kids or a husband or any real commitments, according to them. I'll do it, I said, because what else could I say? So I quit my job, gave up my lease, and moved into Grandma's house. For 2 years, I became her full-time caregiver. I helped her shower, cooked her meals, drove her to doctor appointments, and held her hand through chemo sessions that left her too weak to lift her head. My siblings visited exactly 4 times in those 2 years. Destiny came twice, both times with her phone out, taking selfies with Grandma for her Instagram. Spending quality time with Grandma and blessed family, she'd caption them, racking up hundreds of likes from people who thought she was such a devoted granddaughter. Braxton showed up once for Christmas, stayed 3 hours, and spent most of it on work calls in the other room. Kylie came for Grandma's 82nd birthday, brought a gas station cake, and left after an hour because she had plans. Meanwhile, I watched Grandma get smaller and frailer every day. I learned to read her moods, to know when she needed her pain medication, to understand her mumbled words when the cancer spread to her throat. I held her when she cried about dying, and I lied to her face when she asked if her other grandchildren would visit more. They're busy, Grandma. They love you. She'd squeeze my hand and whisper, "You're my good girl, Chloe. You're the only one who really cares." The night before she died, Grandma pulled me close to her hospital bed. Her voice was barely a whisper. "The house is yours, sweetheart. I promised you that. Don't let them take it from you." I thought she was just being sentimental. The house had been in our family for 40 years. Grandma always said it would go to whoever took care of her. I figured that was obviously me. She died at 3:17 a.m. on a Monday. I was holding her hand. At the funeral, Destiny wore a black designer dress and sobbed dramatically for the cameras. She posted a tribute on social media that got over 1,000 likes. My beautiful grandmother was my inspiration and my rock. I'll miss our long talks and her amazing advice. She taught me everything about strength and family. Rest in peace, Grandma. I love you forever. I wanted to scream, long talks? Amazing advice? Destiny hadn't had a real conversation with Grandma in 5 years, but I kept my mouth shut and played the grieving granddaughter. People hugged me and told me how sorry they were for my loss, how wonderful it was that I'd taken such good care of her. "You're a saint," Mrs. Patterson from next door said, squeezing my hands. "Your grandmother talked about you constantly. She was so proud." After everyone left, I went back to the house. My house now, I thought, and started going through Grandma's things. I was in her bedroom, carefully folding her clothes, when I opened her jewelry box to pack away her few pieces. That's when I found the letter. It was tucked under the velvet lining, along with a small brass key I'd never seen before. The envelope had my name written on it in Grandma's shaky handwriting. "My dearest Chloe," it began, "if you're reading this, then I'm gone, and it's time for you to know the truth. Your siblings think they're clever, but I've been watching and listening. Check behind my wardrobe, use the key. Don't trust anyone until you know everything. You're stronger than you know, and you're going to need that strength. I love you, my good girl. Make me proud." I stared at the letter, my hands shaking. Behind the wardrobe? What truth? I looked at the key, small and brass and warm in my palm. Whatever Grandma had hidden, she'd wanted me to find it. And something told me I was going to need it sooner than I thought. The will reading was scheduled for Thursday at 2 p.m. I arrived at George's office 15 minutes early, clutching Grandma's letter and the mysterious key in my purse. George had been our family lawyer for over 20 years. He'd handled Grandma's affairs, helped with her medical directives, and had always been kind to me during those long months of caregiving. "Chloe, honey," he said, giving me a gentle hug. "How are you holding up?" "I'm okay, just ready to get this over with." He nodded, but something flickered across his face. Concern? Pity? Before I could ask, the door burst open. "Sorry we're late," Destiny announced, strutting in wearing a white blazer and designer sunglasses. Traffic was insane. Braxton followed behind her, checking his phone. "Yeah, this better not take long. I have a conference call at 4. Kylie slipped in last, looking uncomfortable. She gave me a small wave, but Destiny immediately pulled her to the other side of the table. "All right, everyone's here," George said, settling behind his desk. "Let's begin." He opened a thick folder and pulled out several documents. "First, I want to express my condolences again. Deborah was a remarkable woman." "She really was," Destiny said, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. "We're all going to miss her so much." I bit my tongue. George cleared his throat. "Now, regarding Deborah's last will and testament, dated March 15th of this year—" "Wait," I interrupted. "March 15th? That was only 3 weeks before she died." "That's correct. Deborah made some significant changes to her will shortly before her passing." My stomach dropped. Grandma had been so weak in March, barely able to hold a conversation. Why would she change her will then? "The estate, including the house and all assets, will be divided equally among her 4 grandchildren, Destiny, Braxton, Kylie, and Chloe." The words hit me like a physical blow. "Equally? But she promised me—" "I'm sorry, Chloe," George said softly. "I know this isn't what you expected." Destiny leaned back in her chair, a smile playing at her lips. "Well, that's fair, isn't it? We're all family." "Fair?" I stared at her. "I gave up everything to take care of her. Where were you?" "We all contributed in our own ways," Braxton said, not looking up from his phone. "What ways? Name one thing you did for her in the last 2 years." "We don't need to get into this," Destiny said smoothly. "The will is clear. We each get 25%. George continued reading the details, but I could barely focus. The house would need to be sold. The proceeds split 4 ways. I had 30 days to vacate. 30 days? I repeated. "That's standard," Destiny said. "Don't worry, we'll give you time to find somewhere else." "Somewhere else? This is my home. I've lived here for 2 years. It was never really your home, though, was it?" Destiny's voice was sickeningly sweet. "You were just helping out." Kylie shifted in her seat. "Maybe we could—" "Could what?" Destiny cut her off. "The will is legal. End of discussion." I looked at George, desperate. There has to be something. She promised me this house. "I'm sorry, Chloe. I have to follow the legal documents." The meeting ended with paperwork and signatures. My siblings chatted excitedly about renovations and potential buyers while I sat in stunned silence. As we left the office, Destiny grabbed my arm. "Don't take this personally, Chloe. It's just business." Business? She was our grandmother. And now she's gone. Time to move on. I walked to my car in a daze. How had this happened? Grandma had been so clear about her intentions. She'd told me dozens of times that the house would be mine. I was fumbling for my keys when my phone buzzed. A text from Destiny. It was a photo of an eviction notice template she'd found online. The message read, "Better start packing, bitch. 30 days and counting." I stared at the screen, my hands shaking with rage. Then another text came through, this one from Braxton. "Hope you saved some money from all that caregiving. You're gonna need it." And finally, Kylie. "I'm sorry, Chloe, I tried to say something, but they wouldn't listen." I sat in my car for 20 minutes trying to process what had just happened. My siblings had somehow convinced Grandma to change her will when she was dying and barely coherent. They were kicking me out of the only home I had, and they were enjoying it. But then I remembered the letter in my purse. Grandma's words echoed in my mind. Your siblings think they're clever, but I've been watching and listening. I pulled out the brass key and held it up to the light. Whatever Grandma had hidden behind that wardrobe, she'd wanted me to find it for a reason. Maybe this wasn't over after all. I started the engine and drove home to what was still, for the next 30 days, my house. Time to see what secrets Grandma had left me. I went straight to Grandma's bedroom when I got home. The massive oak wardrobe had been against the back wall for as long as I could remember, filled with her clothes and old photo albums. I started pulling everything out: dresses, coats, boxes of pictures. The wardrobe was heavier than it looked, but I managed to inch it away from the wall. Behind it was a small wall safe, painted the same color as the room. I never would have noticed it if I hadn't been looking. The brass key fit perfectly. Inside were manila folders, a stack of audio cassettes, and a small digital recorder. My hands were shaking as I pulled everything out and spread it across Grandma's bed. The first folder was labeled House Deed Original. I opened it and found a deed transfer document signed and notarized 6 months ago. The house had been legally transferred to me, Chloe Pearson, while Grandma was still alive and mentally competent. What the hell? I whispered. The second folder contained bank statements showing regular deposits into an account I'd never heard of. Thousands of dollars, transferred monthly for the past year. The third folder made my blood run cold. It was full of printed text messages and emails between my siblings, going back months. Destiny to Braxton. The old bat is getting worse. We need to move fast before she gives everything to Chloe. Braxton to Destiny. I found a lawyer who'll do house calls. We just need to get her alone. Destiny to Kylie. Don't you dare feel guilty. Chloe chose to play nursemaid. That doesn't make her special. I grabbed the digital recorder with trembling fingers and pressed play. Grandma's voice filled the room, weak but clear. Testing, testing. Chloe, if you're hearing this, then they succeeded in fooling everyone but me. I sank onto the bed, clutching the recorder. I've been recording conversations for months, sweetheart. Your siblings think I'm too sick to understand what's happening, but I hear everything. I see everything. The recording continued. 3 weeks ago, Destiny brought a man to the house, said he was a friend, but I recognized him from the business cards in her purse, a lawyer. They waited until you went to the grocery store. My chest tightened. I remembered that day. Destiny had insisted on staying with Grandma while I ran errands. She'd been so sweet about it, said she wanted to spend quality time together. They told me you were stealing from me, Chloe. Said you were planning to put me in a nursing home and sell the house. They had fake bank statements, forged documents. They said if I didn't change my will, they'd have you arrested. I pressed pause, my vision blurring with tears. Those bastards. They'd manipulated a dying woman with lies about me. I fast-forwarded through several recordings until I found one labeled The Truth, March 10th. Destiny's voice came through clearly. Grandma, we know this is hard, but Chloe has been taking advantage of you. Look at these bank statements. I don't understand. Grandma's voice was so frail. She's been stealing your money, Braxton said. Thousands of dollars. And she's been telling people you're crazy, that you don't know what you're saying anymore. That's not true, Grandma whispered. We have proof, Destiny continued. The only way to protect yourself is to change your will, split everything equally so she can't take it all. But I promised her the house. She doesn't deserve it, Grandma. Not after what she's done to you. I could hear Grandma crying on the recording. They'd broken her heart with their lies. But then I heard something else, a different recording, dated just 2 days later. George, it's Deborah. I need you to come to the house, but don't tell anyone, especially not my grandchildren. George's voice. Of course, Deborah. Is everything all right? No, it's not. I made a terrible mistake, and I need to fix it before it's too late. I grabbed another cassette and shoved it into an old player I found in the closet. George, I want you to witness this. Grandma's voice was stronger now, more determined. My grandchildren, Destiny, Braxton, and Kylie, lied to me. They manipulated me into changing my will with false documents and threats. The will I signed under duress is invalid. The house belongs to Chloe, as I always intended. George's voice. Deborah, are you certain about this? Completely. I've been recording everything. I have proof of their deception. Chloe is the only one who truly cared for me. She deserves everything I promised her. I found more recordings. Hours of my siblings plotting, lying, and celebrating what they thought was their victory. Destiny laughing about how pathetic I was. Braxton joking about me being homeless. Even Kylie, sweet Kylie, agreeing that I had it coming. The last recording was dated just 3 days before Grandma died. Chloe, my darling girl, if you're hearing this, then I'm gone and they think they've won. But I've been 3 steps ahead of them this whole time. The deed transfer is legal and binding. The will they forced me to sign was made under duress and coercion. George has all the documentation. You just need to give him the signal. My phone rang, making me jump. It was George. Chloe, I was hoping you'd call. Did you find what your grandmother left for you? George, what the hell is going on? Your grandmother was a very smart woman, Chloe. She knew exactly what your siblings were planning. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning and bring everything you found? Is the house really mine? Oh, honey, the house has been yours for 6 months. Your siblings just don't know it yet. I hung up and looked around at the evidence scattered across the bed. Recordings, documents, proof of everything they'd done. They thought they were so clever. They thought they'd outsmarted a dying old woman. They had no idea what was coming. I spent the night listening to more recordings. By morning, I had a clear picture of just how deep their betrayal went, but I needed to hear it from one of them directly. I called Kylie at 9 a.m. Chloe, how are you doing? I know yesterday was hard. Can you come over? I need to talk to someone, and you're the only one who seemed to care at all. Of course, I'll be right there. Kylie arrived 20 minutes later with coffee and donuts. She looked genuinely concerned, which almost made me feel bad about what I was planning to do. Almost. I brought your favorite, she said, handing me a Boston cream. I thought you might need some comfort food. Thanks. That's really sweet of you. We sat at the kitchen table, and I let her talk for a few minutes about how sorry she was, how she wished things could be different. Kylie, can I ask you something? Of course. Did you know about the will being changed? She froze with her coffee cup halfway to her lips. What do you mean? I mean, did you know Grandma changed her will 3 weeks before she died, when she could barely remember my name most days? Chloe, because I'm trying to understand how that happened. She was so sick, so confused. But somehow she managed to completely change her mind about everything she'd promised me. Kylie set down her cup, her hands shaking. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. What wasn't supposed to happen like this? The will thing. Destiny said... She said Grandma was being manipulated. Manipulated by who? By you. The words came out in a whisper. She said you were taking advantage of her, making her think she owed you everything. I pulled out my phone and hit record, keeping it hidden under a napkin. What exactly did Destiny tell you? She showed us bank statements, said you were stealing money from Grandma's accounts, and she had these emails where you were supposedly talking to nursing homes about putting Grandma away. Did you see these emails yourself? Well, no. Destiny showed them to us on her phone, but you believed her. She had proof, Chloe, and you have to admit it looked suspicious. You moved in here, isolated Grandma from the rest of us. Isolated her? You visited 4 times in 2 years. We tried to visit more, but you always made excuses. said she was too tired or having a bad day or... That's not true, and you know it. Kylie's face crumpled. I don't know what's true anymore. Destiny said you were poisoning Grandma against us, making her think we didn't care. And you believed that instead of believing me? She had evidence, Chloe, documents and recordings, and... She stopped, her eyes widening. Recordings? I wasn't supposed to tell you that. My heart pounded. What recordings? Destiny. She recorded some of your conversations with Grandma. She said they proved you were manipulating her. Show me. I can't. I don't have them. Call Destiny. Tell her to bring them over. Chloe, I can't. Why not? If they prove I'm such a terrible person, why can't I see them? Kylie started crying. Because they're not real, okay? They're fake. Destiny made them on some app on her phone. The confession hit me like a physical blow. She faked recordings of me? She said it was the only way to make Grandma understand what you were really like. She said you were so good at manipulating people that we needed proof. So you helped her lie to a dying woman? We thought we were protecting her. From what? From the granddaughter who gave up her entire life to take care of her? Kylie sobbed harder. Destiny said you were only doing it for the money, that you didn't really care about Grandma. And what do you think now? I think we made a terrible mistake. I leaned forward. Tell me everything, Kylie. All of it. Destiny found out about the will months ago. She hired a private investigator to look into Grandma's finances. When she realized how much the house was worth, she started planning. Planning what? To get the will changed. She researched elder abuse laws, found out what kind of evidence would be convincing. She created fake bank statements showing you stealing money. She made those recordings. She even had Braxton call nursing homes and pretend to be you, asking about rates. And then what? She brought that lawyer to the house when you were gone. They showed Grandma all the fake evidence and told her you were planning to have her declared incompetent so you could take everything. While she was dying. She was so scared, Chloe. She kept saying she trusted you, but Destiny just kept showing her more and more proof. Finally, Grandma broke down and agreed to change the will. Did any of you ever think to ask me about these accusations? Destiny said you'd just lie and manipulate us like you did Grandma. I stopped the recording and looked at Kylie, who was still crying. I need you to tell me one more thing. What? Did Destiny know Grandma was recording conversations? Kylie's face went white. How did you... Did she know? She found the recorder a few days before Grandma died. She erased everything and hid it. She said it was just Grandma being paranoid. I smiled for the first time in days. She didn't erase everything, Kylie. What do you mean? Grandma was smarter than all of you. She had backup recordings, and now I have them. Kylie stared at me in horror. What are you going to do? I'm going to give you all exactly what you deserve. After Kylie left, I called George and scheduled a meeting for Monday. Then I sat down to plan my next move. I didn't have to wait long for my siblings to make theirs. Saturday morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and dozens of text messages. Destiny had been busy. She'd posted on Facebook. Heartbroken to discover that our beloved grandmother was being financially abused in her final months. Sometimes the people closest to us aren't who we think they are. Please keep our family in your thoughts as we deal with this betrayal. Justice for Grandma. Elder abuse. The post had over 200 likes and 50 comments. People I'd known for years were calling me disgusting, a thief, a monster. My phone rang. It was Mrs. Patterson from next door. Chloe, honey, I just saw the most awful post online. Please tell me it's not true. It's not true, Mrs. Patterson. My siblings are lying. But why would they lie about something like that? Because they want the house, and they're willing to destroy my reputation to get it. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Your grandmother loved you so much. She was always talking about how grateful she was for everything you did. Thank you for believing me. Of course I believe you. I saw how you took care of her every single day. Those other kids barely showed their faces. After I hung up, my phone buzzed with a text from Braxton. Saw the Facebook post. Maybe you should have thought about the consequences before you decided to steal from a dying woman. Then Destiny. Hope you're proud of yourself. Everyone knows what you really are now. But it was the next message that really got to me. Someone had created a fake Instagram account using my photos and posted, "I stole from my dying grandmother and all I got was this lousy house. No shame, our elder abuser." They were trying to destroy me completely. My phone rang again. This time it was my Aunt Layla, Grandma's youngest daughter who lived 3 states away. "Chloe? I just got off the phone with Destiny. She told me some very disturbing things." My heart sank. "Layla, I can explain." "Oh, honey, I'm not calling because I believe her. I'm calling because I know exactly what kind of person she is." "You do?" "Destiny tried to pull this same crap with me 5 years ago. Told everyone I was stealing from your grandmother. Tried to turn the whole family against me. The only reason it didn't work was because I had witnesses." "She did this before?" "She's been planning this for years, sweetheart. Ever since she found out how much that house was worth. She called me last month, fishing for information about your grandmother's will." "What did you tell her?" "I told her it was none of her damn business. But I also called your grandmother and warned her to be careful." "You knew this was happening?" "I suspected. Your grandmother was sharper than people gave her credit for. She called me a few weeks before she died, said she was worried about wolves in sheep's clothing." "Did she tell you about the recordings?" Layla laughed. "She told me she was gathering evidence. I should have known she meant it literally. That woman was always 3 steps ahead of everyone else." "Layla, they're destroying my reputation. People think I'm a monster." "Let them. You know what I learned when Destiny tried to ruin me? The people who matter will see through her lies. The people who don't matter, well, who cares what they think?" "But everyone believes her." "Not everyone." Mrs. Patterson called me this morning, furious about that Facebook post. So did 3 other neighbors. They all said the same thing. They watched you take care of your grandmother with their own eyes. "Really? Really? And honey, I've been doing some digging of my own. Did you know Destiny's been bragging to her friends about inheriting a house worth $500,000? She has? Posted about it on her private Instagram, screenshots of real estate listings, talking about renovation plans. I saved everything before she deleted it." "Why would she delete it?" "Because someone pointed out that it looked pretty suspicious to be celebrating an inheritance while accusing someone of elder abuse." My phone buzzed with another notification. Someone had tagged me in a post. "This is what a real granddaughter looks like," with a photo of me helping Grandma into her wheelchair at a doctor's appointment last year. Then another. "I saw Chloe at the grocery store every week for 2 years buying special food for her grandmother's dietary restrictions. This whole thing is bullshit." And another. "Chloe gave up her job and apartment to take care of her grandmother." Where were the other grandchildren? Oh, right, posting selfies on Instagram. "Layla, I think the tide is turning." Of course it is. The truth has a way of coming out. But Chloe? Yeah? Don't let them off easy. What they did to your grandmother, what they're trying to do to you, that's unforgivable. I'm not planning to. Good. Your grandmother was a fighter, and so are you. Make her proud. After we hung up, I spent the rest of the day documenting everything. Screenshots of their social media posts, copies of the fake Instagram account, records of all their lies. Sunday morning, George called. "Chloe, I've been getting some interesting phone calls. Apparently your siblings have been telling people that you're under investigation for elder abuse." "Are they insane?" "Possibly. But here's the thing. I've also been contacted by several of your grandmother's neighbors and friends. They want to provide character testimony on your behalf." "Testimony for what?" "For the meeting tomorrow. I think it's time we showed your siblings exactly what kind of evidence we have." "All of them?" "All of them. I've asked them to come in at 2 p.m. I told them we'd found some irregularities in the estate that needed to be addressed immediately. What did they say? Destiny said she'd bring her lawyer. Braxton asked if he needed to lawyer up too. Kylie just cried. This is really happening. Oh, it's happening. And Chloe? Bring everything your grandmother left you. It's time for the truth to come out. I hung up and looked around the house that had been my home for 2 years. Tomorrow it would officially be mine forever. But first, I had to face my siblings one last time. I arrived at George's office at 1:45 p.m. with a box full of evidence. My siblings were already there, huddled together on one side of the conference table. Destiny had brought a sharp-looking woman in an expensive suit who I assumed was her lawyer. Chloe, George said, gesturing to a chair across from them, thank you for coming. Destiny looked smug. I hope you're ready to face the consequences of what you've done. Oh, I'm ready, I said, setting my box on the table. Her lawyer leaned forward. I'm Jennifer Walsh, representing the Pearson siblings. We are prepared to offer a settlement to avoid criminal charges. Criminal charges? George raised an eyebrow. For what exactly? Elder abuse, financial exploitation, coercion. That's interesting, George interrupted, because I have some questions about coercion myself. He opened a thick folder. Let's start with the will that was changed on March 15th. Can you tell me about the circumstances surrounding that change? Braxton shifted uncomfortably. Grandma realized she'd been manipulated. She wanted to make things fair. Fair, George repeated. And how exactly did she come to this realization? We showed her evidence of Chloe's abuse, Destiny said confidently. What kind of evidence? Bank statements showing theft, recordings of Chloe threatening her, documentation of neglect. I see. And where is this evidence now? Destiny's lawyer whispered something in her ear. We don't have to provide that unless... Actually, you do. George pulled out another document. Because I have a court order requiring all parties to present any evidence related to Deborah's mental state and decision-making capacity in the weeks before her death. The room went silent. Now, George continued, I'm going to play some recordings that were found in Deborah's personal effects. I want everyone to listen very carefully. He pressed play on a digital recorder. Grandma's voice filled the room. March 10th. They came again today. Destiny brought that lawyer and more fake papers. They're telling me Chloe is stealing from me, but I check my accounts every day. Nothing is missing. Destiny's face went white. The recording continued. They showed me bank statements, but the account numbers are wrong. They think I'm too sick to notice, but I've been banking at the same place for 40 years. I know my own account numbers. March 12th. I called the nursing homes they claim Chloe contacted. None of them have any record of calls from her, but they do have records of calls from someone claiming to be her, using a different phone number. I traced the number. It belongs to Braxton. Braxton started to stand up. This is... Sit down, George said firmly. We're not finished. March 14th, Destiny brought those fake recordings again. She doesn't know I have a background in audio engineering from my radio days. The voice patterns are all wrong. She used some kind of computer program to fake my granddaughter's voice. Destiny's lawyer was frantically scribbling notes. March 15th, they're forcing me to sign a new will today. They say if I don't, they'll have Chloe arrested for elder abuse. I'm going to sign it, but I'm also going to make sure the truth comes out. George stopped the recording. There are 12 hours of recordings like this. Deborah documented every lie, every manipulation, every threat. Those recordings could be fake, Destiny said desperately. They could be, George agreed, except for this. He pulled out a manila envelope. Deborah had the recordings analyzed by a forensic audio expert. She also had handwriting analysis done on the fake bank statements you showed her. And she hired a private investigator to verify your claims about nursing home calls. He spread the reports across the table. Every single piece of evidence you presented to her was fabricated. Kylie started crying. We didn't mean for it to go this far. Shut up, Destiny hissed. No, Kylie sobbed. I can't do this anymore. Grandma trusted us, and we lied to her while she was dying. George pulled out another document. This is the real will, signed by Deborah 6 months before her death, when she was in perfect mental health. It leaves the house and all assets to Chloe, as she always intended. That's impossible, Braxton said. We saw the deed transfer. You saw a fake deed transfer that Destiny created, George said. The real deed transfer happened 6 months ago. The house has been legally Chloe's property since then. Destiny's lawyer whispered urgently in her ear, then stood up. We need to discuss this privately with our clients. Sit down, George said. We're not done. He turned to me. Chloe, would you like to share what you found in your grandmother's safe? I pulled out the folder of text messages and emails. These are screenshots of conversations between my siblings, planning this whole thing. They've been scheming for over a year. I read from Destiny's messages. The old bat won't last much longer. We need to move fast. And Braxton's response, I already found a lawyer who makes house calls. We just need the right story. There's more, I said, pulling out my phone. I also have a recording of Kylie confessing to the fraud. I played the recording from our kitchen conversation. Kylie's voice was clear. The recordings are fake. Destiny made them on some app on her phone. Destiny's lawyer stood up again. My clients invoke their right to remain silent. Too late for that, George said. I've already filed a complaint with the district attorney's office. Elder abuse, fraud, coercion of a vulnerable adult, conspiracy. The charges are quite extensive. You can't prove anything, Destiny said, but her voice was shaking. Actually, I can prove everything. Your grandmother was very thorough. She documented every conversation, every lie, every manipulation. She even had you followed by a private investigator. He pulled out a stack of photographs. These show you meeting with lawyers, creating fake documents, and celebrating at a bar after you thought you'd successfully changed the will. The photos were damning. Destiny and Braxton toasting with champagne, Destiny showing the fake will to friends, Braxton laughing about me being homeless soon. The house belongs to Chloe, George said firmly. It has belonged to Chloe for 6 months. Your grandmother made sure of that before you could manipulate her further. This isn't over, Destiny said, standing up. Actually, it is, I said, speaking for the first time since the meeting began. It's completely over. I looked at each of them. You tortured a dying woman with lies about me. You tried to steal my home. You attempted to destroy my reputation, and you celebrated while doing it. The district attorney will be in touch, George said. I suggest you all get very good lawyers. As they filed out, Destiny turned back to me. You think you've won, but you've lost your family forever. I lost my family the day you decided to lie to a dying woman, I replied. I just didn't know it yet. The door closed behind them, and I was finally alone with George. It's over, he said softly. The house is yours. It always was. I held up the keys Grandma had left me. For the first time in weeks, they felt like they truly belonged in my hand. The silence in George's office felt heavy after my siblings left. I stared at the evidence scattered across the table, months of lies and manipulation laid bare. What happens now? I asked. George gathered the documents into neat piles. Now they face the consequences. The DA's office will likely pursue charges. Elder abuse and fraud are serious crimes. Will they go to jail? Possibly. At minimum, they'll face hefty fines and legal fees. Their reputations are destroyed, and they'll never see a penny of your grandmother's estate. My phone buzzed. A text from Kylie. Chloe, please call me. I need to explain. Then Braxton. This isn't over. We'll appeal everything. And finally, Destiny. You're going to regret this. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are." I showed the messages to George. He shook his head. "They still don't get it. They're facing criminal charges, and they're still threatening you." "Should I be worried?" "Document everything. Save those messages. They're just digging themselves deeper." I drove home through the late afternoon sun, past neighbors who waved from their yards. Mrs. Patterson was watering her flowers and gave me a thumbs up. Word was already spreading. Inside the house, I walked through each room slowly. The living room where I'd helped Grandma with physical therapy. The kitchen where we'd shared countless meals. Her bedroom where I'd held her hand during her final moments. It was quiet now, but it didn't feel empty. It felt peaceful. My phone rang. "Layla." I heard from George. "How are you feeling?" "Honestly, I don't know. Relief, I guess. But also, sad? Yeah, I keep thinking about what Grandma went through. They made her final weeks miserable with their lies. She knew the truth, honey. That's why she protected you. She died knowing you'd be okay. I just wish she could have seen this, seen them finally get what they deserved." "Oh, she saw it. Trust me, wherever she is, she's probably laughing her ass off right now." That made me smile for the first time all day. "Layla, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you think I'm a bad person for wanting this? For wanting them to suffer?" "Sweetheart, they tortured a dying woman to steal from you. They tried to destroy your life for money. You didn't want them to suffer. You wanted justice. There's a difference." After we hung up, I made dinner and ate it at the kitchen table where Grandma and I used to sit together. The house felt different now that I knew it was truly mine. Safer, more solid. My phone buzzed with notifications. People were sharing the story on social media. Someone had posted screenshots of Destiny's old Instagram stories where she'd bragged about inheriting the house, alongside her Facebook post accusing me of elder abuse. The comments were brutal. So she was celebrating the inheritance while accusing her sister of stealing it? What a psychopath. This is disgusting. That poor grandmother. I hope they all go to prison. Another notification showed that Destiny had deleted all her social media accounts. Braxton had done the same. Only Kylie's remained, and it was flooded with angry comments. Around 9 p.m., there was a knock at my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Kylie standing on the porch, crying. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. "Chloe, please, I need to talk to you." "There's nothing to talk about. I'm so sorry. I never wanted it to go this far. I tried to stop them." "No, you didn't. You went along with every lie. You helped them torture Grandma." "I was scared. Destiny said if I didn't help, she'd cut me off from the family. She said you were manipulating Grandma and we had to save her. And you believed that instead of believing me. I was stupid. I was weak. But I'm not like them, Chloe. I'm not cruel like Destiny or selfish like Braxton. You're exactly like them. You just cry about it afterward." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "Please don't say that." "It's true. You knew what they were doing was wrong. But you did it anyway because it was easier than standing up to them. I'll testify against them. I'll tell the prosecutor everything." "You'll testify because you're trying to save yourself, not because you suddenly grew a conscience." "That's not fair." "Fair?" I stepped closer to her. "You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been visiting Grandma more than once in 2 years. Fair would have been helping me take care of her instead of letting me sacrifice my entire life. Fair would have been believing me instead of believing Destiny's lies. I know I messed up." "You didn't mess up, Kylie. You made a choice. You chose money over family. You chose lies over truth. You chose to hurt me and Grandma because it was convenient. I love you, Chloe. You're my sister." "No, I'm not. Not anymore." I started to close the door, but she put her hand against it. "Please don't shut me out. I can't lose you too." "You already lost me. The day you decided to help them lie to a dying woman." "What can I do? How can I fix this? You can't. Some things can't be fixed, Kylie. Some betrayals are too deep. I closed the door and locked it. She stood on the porch crying for another 10 minutes before finally leaving. I went to Grandma's bedroom and sat on her bed, surrounded by the evidence of my siblings' betrayal. The recordings, the fake documents, the proof of their cruelty. I did it, Grandma. I whispered to the empty room. I made them pay for what they did to you. The house settled around me with small creaks and sighs, like it was finally relaxing after holding its breath for months. Tomorrow, the legal process would begin in earnest. There would be court dates and depositions, and probably more attempts by my siblings to contact me. But tonight, I was home, in my house. The house Grandma had protected for me, even as she was dying. I picked up one of her recordings and pressed play. Chloe, my darling girl, you are stronger than you know and braver than you believe. Don't let them break you. Don't let them win. I wouldn't let them win. I already hadn't. The district attorney's office moved fast. Within 2 weeks, formal charges were filed against all 3 of my siblings: elder abuse, fraud, conspiracy, and coercion of a vulnerable adult. The local news picked up the story, and suddenly everyone knew what they'd done. I was in Grandma's garden, planting the roses she'd always wanted, when George called with an update. Destiny's lawyer called. She wants to make a deal. What kind of deal? Full confession in exchange for reduced charges. She's looking at 3 to 5 years otherwise. And the others? Braxton's trying to claim he was just following Destiny's lead. His lawyer thinks he can get probation and community service. George paused. Kylie fired her lawyer. She wants to represent herself. That's insane. She's planning to throw herself on the mercy of the court. Full confession, complete cooperation, begging for forgiveness. I wiped dirt from my hands and sat back on my heels. What do you think I should do? That's not my decision to make, Chloe. But I will say this. Your grandmother would want justice, not just revenge. That afternoon, Mrs. Patterson came over with a casserole and the latest neighborhood gossip. That Destiny girl's been calling around, trying to find someone to give her a character reference, she said, settling into Grandma's favorite kitchen chair. Nobody will do it. Word's gotten out about what they did. Good. Braxton lost his job, something about the company not wanting to be associated with elder abuse. And Kylie, she shook her head. Poor thing's been staying at that motel on Route 9. Can't afford anything else with all the legal fees. I felt a flicker of something. Not quite sympathy, but not satisfaction either. Mrs. Patterson, can I ask you something? Of course, dear. Do you think I'm being too harsh? Not forgiving them? She set down her coffee cup and looked at me seriously. Honey, forgiveness is for you, not for them. When you're ready to forgive, you'll know. But that doesn't mean you have to let them back into your life. I keep thinking about what Grandma would want. Your grandmother loved you more than anything in this world. She'd want you to be happy and safe. She'd want you to live your life without looking over your shoulder. That evening, Layla called with news from her end of the family. I've been talking to some of our cousins. They're all horrified by what happened. Nobody wants anything to do with Destiny or Braxton. What about Kylie? She's been reaching out to everyone, apologizing. Some people feel sorry for her, but most think she's just trying to save herself. Maybe she is. Maybe. But Chloe, I need to tell you something. She called me yesterday crying. She said she's been having nightmares about Grandma, about what they put her through in those final weeks. Good, she should have nightmares. She also said she's been going to therapy, trying to understand why she went along with it all. Too little, too late. I agree, but I thought you should know. The next morning, I was surprised to find an envelope slipped under my front door. Inside was a handwritten letter from Kylie. Chloe, it began, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I need to say this. I've been in therapy, trying to understand how I became the kind of person who could hurt someone I love. My therapist says I need to take responsibility without expecting forgiveness. So here it is. I was weak, selfish, and cruel. I chose money over family. I chose the easy path over the right path. I helped torture our dying grandmother because I was too cowardly to stand up to destiny. I don't deserve your forgiveness, and I'm not asking for it. I just wanted you to know that I understand what I did, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to become someone better, someone Grandma could have been proud of. I love you, and I'm sorry. I read the letter twice, then put it in the drawer with all of Grandma's recordings. Maybe someday I'd know what to do with it. The court proceedings dragged on for months. Destiny got 18 months in prison and 5 years probation. Braxton got probation, community service, and a hefty fine. Kylie got 6 months in county jail and 3 years probation. I attended every hearing, sitting in the front row where they could see me. I wanted them to remember what they'd lost. On the day of Kylie's sentencing, she turned around and looked at me before they let her away. Her eyes were red from crying, but she didn't look away. She mouthed, "I'm sorry," one more time. I didn't respond. Now I'm sitting in Grandma's garden, watching the roses bloom. The house is quiet around me, filled with her presence and her love. I've started working again, freelancing from home. I've made new friends in the neighborhood. I've built a life that's mine. Sometimes people ask if I regret what I did to my siblings, if I wish I'd handled things differently. The answer is no. They made their choices. They chose greed over love, lies over truth, cruelty over kindness. They destroyed our family for money, and they tortured a dying woman to get it. I simply made sure they faced the consequences. Grandma's final recording is still on my nightstand. I listen to it sometimes when I need to remember why I fought so hard. Chloe, my darling girl, you are my legacy. You are proof that love and loyalty still matter in this world. Be strong, be brave, be happy, and never let anyone make you feel guilty for demanding the respect you deserve. I won't let them make me feel guilty. I demanded respect, and I got justice. The roses are beautiful this year. Grandma would have loved them.